Okay, so here we have airbrush, and now I would like to clean it a bit to prepare, let's say, this thinner. So I shake it. Here you can see this bottle, we open it, and we just, oops, give me a second. Let's move the model to the side, plastic parts to the side as well, and we just pour a bit of thinner inside. Okay, so here comes the first interesting thing. As far as I can guess, it is protected with paper. Here you can see it. I think you should notice it. So do not forget to peel it away. And as you can see, that's not such an easy task, so just give me a second. But at least you won't get any spilled liquid over the parcel. I think that's a decent feature, and I think all other manufacturers should include it. The smell of this thinner is quite interesting. It somehow reminds of Gunze thinners, but it is a bit, I would say, softer smell. So if you are going to do the degustation of the thinners, know that this one is more light. Even though we are going to open it once again, and now let's add several drops of this thinner. I think that's more than enough, especially considering the size of this tiger. It will be really enough. Now we are going to switch on the air compressor. Manufacturer recommends to use the 10 to 15 psi on your compressor, because they claim that it will be more than enough for application. Well, I just tuned it up to, just give me a second. I think it's okay. Let's do it like this. It's approximately 13 psi. Let's airbrush it a bit so that everything gets covered by this primer. And now we go, actually not primer but thinner. Now we go with primer. I think, yes, primer, as you can see, also protected with this special cap, which is airtight, so again you don't get all this white liquid over the package. That's good, even though you get it on your hands. That's not good. Just give me a second. As for the primer, I would say how it's liquid and its consistency, I would say it's more or less thick liquid. You can see it here, and that's why I think a small drop of the thinner will be necessary, because otherwise it will be really difficult to get airbrush spray into it. So we already have a really tiny amount of the thinner inside, so I'm going to add 3 drops of the primer. Okay, let's do 4. Actually, it was 5, so 5 drops of the primer. As usual, I would just wipe this in order to get a bit more or less clean finish. Let's close it, put it somewhere here so that you can see it and you won't forget what is it. Now we just mix it with our classic way. Okay, so now we have it like this. It's a white primer, and as far as you can see, it's more or less, I would say, consistent liquid. So now I'm going to bubble it a bit. So let's spray it first on this paper. As far as you can see, it goes fine. Manufacturer recommends to spray it with even coats, and it claims that 3 coats should be enough. First, I would like to do a test dry on this sprue. So here you can see it. Well, overall coat looks fine, so we are going to proceed and cover this suspension parts with the primer. So let's go. Even though it is noticeable that due to thick primer, it goes not that easily, so if you would like to have a better flow, it's better to add a bit more of thinner. And I think I will do it right now because it's not that easy flowing mix, I would say. So just give me a second. Let's add 2 drops of thinner. And with bottle you can see it's not that great feature that when you do add the drops, they get down by the cap, and that's due to the position of the dropper or the ear right in the middle section, so that's why it's not easy to get a clean drop addition, let's say. Okay, so it's more or less fixed. Now you can see it's white and nice. Let's spray it once again. Okay, now it flows better than what was on the first time. With tracks I won't be that careful because tracks still will be weathered, and I think I got a bit too liquid mix because I can see that it goes and it spills, but okay. Just give me a second. We'll airbrush it here as well. Now from the other side. Still, I would like to increase the PSI because, as far as you can see, we get some bubbles when spraying this primer. Now it's better. So I increased it approximately 6 to 16 PSI, and this provides better flowing, better airbrushing result. Okay. I'm just going to spray it a bit here. Even though inside will be barely visible, still it's worth adding some primer here as well, because who knows, maybe it will be visible somehow, and then you will be facing quite an interesting dilemma. So, okay, and also I'll add a bit here. So here you can see these parts, they're pre-painted, actually covered with primer. Overall coat is quite okay. I will leave it to dry a bit in order to apply the second cover of primer, and now starts the most interesting thing, because here we have the main hull, and now we are going to cover it with primer. So I would like to start with the side. I'm doing the really light coat of the primer. Why? Because it will be reapplied once again on the second try. So here it's okay, we go on the front. I think with such pressure it is better to have a thicker mix, because then it will be spraying in a way better flowing. But we have what we have, so we are going to deal with current mix, and then next time I think I will be doing a bit thicker mix in order to get more attractive finish. Okay. The small kits from Zvezda are actually quite interesting because they offer you a chance to build a model in one day, paint it, and have a really nice miniature of some famous tank or maybe even aircraft. Even though I did not try their 144 scale aircraft kits, but they also seem quite nice, so it might be worth trying as well. Okay, I think also the front should be sprayed a bit. Also the lower section of the main gun. It's quite handy that you can tilt the gun on the top, then you can paint all necessary areas in order to get an even finish. Okay, we also paint the belly and the suspension, because suspension will be visible on this tank, so it's better to get a nice finish instead of having the gray plastic sticking out through the main paint. For this tank I plan to do a bit unusual marking option because still we don't have any decals here, so that's why it's worth trying another mission model's shade in order to see how it will work and how easy it will be to weather such paint. Just give me a sec. I see that we have a small piece of hair there, so I need tweezers in order to remove it. So just give me a second. Okay, now it should be better. Even though you can see here that the front part is a bit scratched, but I don't think it will be a huge problem with what we have here. Primer is almost gone. Here you can see the first cover, and I will come back when we'll have all covers applied. Okay, so we have the first layer already airbrushed on this tank, so here you can see the final result. It's more or less even finish, I would say. Here you can see, for example, I'm not sure if it will be focusing, even though I'm holding it right in front of the camera. Nevertheless, I hope you can see it like this. Even like this, it is visible that we have the really nice. Just give me a second, because camera does not want to focus on what we have here. So I'm not sure what is happening. Just give me a second. Okay, we will do it like this. By going old school into the manual focus. Now you should be able to see it, so while we are in the manual focus, I will show you this tank as well, so that you can see the overall result. Here you can see it. So overall coat is quite even, I would say. It is easy flow in paint, and I did not have any problems with it. There are several things to note, I would say. So first of all, this is not a completely odorless paint. So if you are searching for something which some paint which won't have any smell, this is I would say not the right choice for you. Nevertheless, it's not that harsh as in some other paints, so if you have some good ventilation, it should be fine. Next thing, what I'm not huge fan, here you can see that we have this bottle of the primer, and you can see that when you trying to put a drop or two into the airbrush, whole primer or whole thinner goes on this cap. It's not that cool. Why it happens? Because, as I said before, we have this thing not in the edge, but we have it slightly tilted to the moved to the middle, and that's why it happens what you can see here. By the way, another thing is that when you press it, as you can see, it's not opened, so be sure to press it until you hear this distinguished click. What else is interesting? I would say that here I applied, let's say, 2.5 layers of this primer. It's more than enough for this scale of model, and it will be interesting to see how paint will be covering all this primer. I will be also using the mission models paint, so we will see it in the next video. And another thing is that this primer is already available for purchase, and you can get it. I will write, I think I will write it in the video description below. I think BuildKit's distribution should have it for sure, so you'll find it there. And once you apply this primer, it should be left for several hours in order to dry out, and then we will proceed in a different video with a paint coating for this model. So thank you for watching, and of course, if you like this video, don't forget to press the like button because it will help us greatly. You can also support us financially by pressing the donate button on our website, and I will see you in the next video dedicated to this paints brand. Thank you for watching, and bye. Hello everyone, today we have slightly different format of the video review. Why? Because we will be checking the paints. It won't be a plastic kit. As you can see, plastic kit is already assembled and ready to be painted, but we are going to talk about this. I promised you in the previous month recap that we will cover these paints from this brand, and now I decided to shoot a, let's say, video series. It will be a combination of short shots where we will be painting this small Sturmtiger, and it will be painted with Mission Models. Mission Models is a relatively young brand, I would say, and as you can see, it's written here that it's premium hobby paints, and also there are primers and also some additives. And here we have the small brochure with all paints which are included into this range. You can find it also on their website. As far as I remember, inside we have the whole paints range and shades which are produced by this manufacturer. There are a lot of them, you can see it with your own eyes, so if you would like to read more, go to their website. But what is interesting about them, that they're, as it's written here, they are triple pigmented, so you get the maximum opacity that's written here, and it's also the main feature that they won't fade over the time. And it's written that you can use paint straight out of the bottle. Here I have the white primer, you can see it here written on this bottle. Let's try to refocus the camera so that maybe you will see it. No, you don't see it. So we do it like this. Now you should be able to see it. So this is a primer, and in my opinion, it is a quite nice bottle. It is a plastic bottle, so you won't get the damaged bottle. Layout here is quite understandable, so you see here that it's primer, it's 1 ounce, and of course it is written in this brochure that this paint is ready to be applied straight away out of the bottle. Nevertheless, they also recommend to use what they recommend to use. It was the models, Mission Models thinner. So thinner is provided in 2 types. As far as I remember, there are 2 ounce and also 4 ounces. So it will be up to you which one you will choose. As you can see here, I have the 2 version, and it is a water-based paint reducer. Of course, you have to shake it before application. And here comes another nice feature about these paints, is that inside you can here, I think, there is a metal bottle inside, so it helps you steer what is inside, and you won't get the improperly mixed bottle. And that's mainly a problem with plastic bottles, so that's why they decided to insert the metal bottle. And another good example is, for example, here we have the polyurethane mix additive. It's also in the same bottle as the thinner, and I can shake it in front of microphone. you can hear that we have also metal bottle here, so it won't be an ugly, let's say, consistency when you get it out of the shelf. And just because they're a non-solvent based paint system, you won't get any problems if you store them on the shelf for a long time. I will test it, of course, with in meantime. It will be interesting to see how it will behave. And here, why I'm a bit confused, because here I can see the metal bottle. I'm not sure if you will be able to see it. No, it flew away. Let's try to do it like this. So here you can see the small metal ball. It's barely visible, but I mean it is there, and it should help you mix everything inside. So another interesting feature is that it is easy to clean the airbrush after those paints with water, even though they recommend the thinner to be used in order to clean up faster. Well, I would say that's basically all features for introduction. And now what I was going to do, I was going to try paint on this small Sturmtiger from Zvezda. As you can see, it's already assembled. By the way, that's quite a nice kit. All this is assembled without glue. The only thing which was glued is this mast, because there is some problem with position. Of course, there are no hatches or any other features, but let's not forget that this is 100 scale. And here we also have the tracks and suspension molded together. So what we are going to do, I would like to try to apply this thing without thinner. So even though manufacturer recommends to do it with thinner, and there is a small note that they're ready to be used without thinner as well. So for me it is interesting to see how it will behave without thinner. And now we are going to load it into the airbrush, and we are going to airbrush it straight on this Sturmtiger.